that first round of people in the Panther Party, they weren't taught. They just joined. You know, the riots. And King just got killed. I mean, you know, everybody was shooting. It was a mess. You know, but well, actually, no, King wasn't killed, and this was '67. But things were hot. They were hot all across the country, and Seattle was getting hot. Stokely Carmichael had come up. That's what had happened. He had come up and infused my brothers with this militancy, Black Power, and that was the movement then. Black is beautiful, Black Power. So you had all these big froze and all these black people, but it was emotional. It wasn't something that I would say theoretically thought out. So consequently, a lot of people came with their habits, with their proclivities. We tried to train people to eliminate those, but lots of times when you have people in your organization that already have it, sometimes they get rid of it, sometimes they don't. Usually they keep some of it. So Aaron being 19, he wasn't an adult. He was a leader. He had older people around him. He couldn't control them. They had already developed themselves. That's how the party was. Now, I watched him. I saw a whole lot of things as a 15-year-old. And I eventually joined because that big initial hoorah thing, when things start getting tough and difficult, and then you say, well, after the hoorah, after you parade with guns, then what do you do?
Right.
Then what do you do? Well, you screw. Well, then what do you do? Well, you might use. Well, then what do you do? I mean, but it says right here you're not supposed to do that. So the numbers start going down.
Yeah.
When people start getting shot, they really went down because they said, well, I'm not in here for this. I was just trying to catch that lady. I said, well, no, it's more than that.
Right.
So I remember we went through about 3 or 4 phases metamorphically, but I wasn't in that first group. And I'm glad I wasn't because I didn't pick up their habits. And then when I finally came in, I was methodically trained.
Because you had started off as kind of a lookout.
Yeah, and I had the benefit of not being able to join right away. So I didn't learn the habits of these rowdies, because there are a lot of rowdy people, a lot of rowdy habits. And those people eventually left. It took about a year. They were all gone. And we had more people, but they were mostly older than me. So I couldn't really tell them what to do. And the only thing you could appeal to was the knowledge. And that's what shaped me. And then I had some very good leaders who were plus 10 years older than me, so they could teach me. They taught me very well. I learned how to be a little soldier.
Was the guy that was married to your sister one of those people?
He was a wild one. Yeah, Curtis Harris. He married my sister to get out of the draft.
I see.
Yeah, he was one of these corrupt bastards. And he wasn't really in love with my sister. He just kind of used her. And then he used that position to try to get authority in the Panther Party and clashed with Aaron, and eventually got a certain faction to follow him, because he was like Eldridge Cleaver. There's a police car. Well, how many bullets do you have in your gun? How many guns do you have? What are you going to do after you shoot? See, none of these things are thought out. So you're running. I remember Aaron told me one time where he almost got hammered because he was walking with Curtis, and Curtis sees a cop car and starts shooting, and they have to scatter. And if it wasn't for one of these fathers that I'm telling you about now, you got to understand, these fathers are conservative, but they're not going to let their kids die. So this Aaron things were closing in on him, and this father happened to see him in the backyard and plucked him, put him in the house. The cops came. There wasn't nobody to squash, so they went on. But had he been caught there, that would have been it. He might have killed him. That would have been it. Then we would have been ruled by this insane guy.
Right.
See? And he was into setting people up. Eventually, he set up a guy named Larry Ward, who died in '69. He came as a Vietnam vet, like a lot of people who wanted to join the revolutionary movement.